Okay, so yesterday was a big day for our country. Our president was arraigned in the D.C. federal courthouse. We were not in the room, but Tammy and we were in the overflow room, and we watched it all go down. Interesting thing is that in the overflow room, they have 3 cameras, and so you could see the judge, and then you could see the table and the audience. And then in the other one, you could see the 2 tables also, just a little bit different angle. President Trump, they had 5 people from the public, and those people had been waiting since the night before, and it's super early that morning. So 5 people from the public, 5 people from the press. We were told, weren't we, Tammy, that it was just Judge Boasberg and his staff that was going to be in there. This morning we found out there were 5 judges. We all know this, but that was the information that we had received when we were figuring out the protocol and all that was going down. And they had a lottery for the media, and that's how they were able to get in. But this morning, and then we found out, because before the judges came in, you could see the back row of the audience, and then they tightened the camera in, and you couldn't see the back row, and we just saw people sit down. That's all you could really see. And then this morning we found out that there were 5 judges, 5 federal judges. Sorry, I just kicked the dog in the face.
I was going to be on Twitter.
I could feel it coming. I just didn't know how to stop it. I think it tells a lot that these judges wanted to be in there and see what they were doing. I'm sure one of the judges was Judge Beryl Howell, who was the chief judge last year and who presided over many of the grand juries that took place for Trump. Let's see, Judge Upaningaya, who was the magistrate judge. I got that right off the first time. Upaningaya. Yeah.
Now she can say it.
I know, because it's a hard judge's name. So she's just the magistrate judge. This Trump's case has been. Judge Chotkin is the judge who will preside over the actual case. But anyway, Upaningaya, maybe, unless she recuses herself. As Tommy got in for, she could, yeah. And so at any rate, she was 10 minutes late coming in. But when Trump came in, he came in through the door, like where they bring the prisoners and everything in through. If anybody has seen any of the court cases, he came through that door after a Secret Service and everybody was in there. He sat down, and Jack Smith was on the front row. He was the second guy on the front row. Trump sat to where he stared him for a good part of those 10 minutes that we were waiting on the judge to come into the room. Then when she came in, she never addressed him as former President Trump. She never addressed him as anything other than Mr. Trump. And it was all a slight, and you could tell the air in the room. Also, yeah, there was just the animosity there, and you want to say some stuff you witnessed in history?
So there was this guy that sat next to me. He was awful. He was. I don't know. What is that guy's name? They did all of the court, the bailiffs.
Yeah.
They all knew him. They knew exactly who he was, and they were like, Brian, you need to shut up. You're talking too loud. You're being disrespectful. Everybody in the courtroom was like, what is this guy even talking about? He was talking crazy stuff. And then he said, you probably don't want to know what I have to say about Trump. And I said, you're right. I don't. And he was like, oh, I think he's a piece of shit. I said, well, that's cool. Like, good for you. I think he's a good president, and I can't wait for him to come back. And then he said some other weird stuff, like really weird stuff. I'm not even going to repeat it because it's so weird. And I told him he was older than dirt and he needed to shut his face. Then the bailiff came over and told him to shut up again. After that, it was cool. There was a nice other older gentleman that was sitting on the other side of Nicole. He wasn't so bad. He was a former attorney, so there's that. But you could tell he had a lot of disdain for us.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to show it. Yeah. And then at a certain point, I was like, this guy don't even like us. Why are we being nice to him? And I just sat for it. And I was like, yeah, the election was rigged. I love Trump.
Well, I have to say, yes, there were not very many Trump supporters within the overflow rooms or outside, and that's what we're going to get to. Everyone's going to, I think, could talk about their day that day and what they experienced, because it is history in the making. We're watching our country turn into a banana republic, and it is true. I think Suzanne has a great saying. I'll let her have that one-liner there, that she was able to get out on Water's World, and stuff. But, it is truly a banana republic when you have a sitting president go after his political opponent. And that's absolutely what's been going on. They've been going after what they consider dissidents for 2.5 years now. And really, since Obama, is that what you said, Tommy? I'm learning to read Tommy's lips. So give me a second. But Suzanne, why don't you come talk about what y'all felt out there yesterday in all the heat of it?
Yes, so we did not get to go inside to the lovely courthouse and sit next to Brian the jerk. We were outside where there was a media, I would call it a circus, but it was more like a shark pit, because these journalists were literally everybody always loves to tell Suzanne Monk to pull the mic back because I talk like this on the microphone. Sorry. Oh, we got a phone call. We'll be back. Sorry, I love